Welcome to Healing, Hope, and Health, the program proudly brought to you by Hospice of Washington County. I'm Bernadette Wagner, and I'm pleased you could join us for today's program. It's my pleasure to again welcome Karen Giffen, HWC Senior Director of Development, Community, and Public Relations. Just last month, Karen played a huge role in overseeing the groundbreaking ceremony for Dowie's House, Washington County's first hospice house. She and her team have been incredibly busy raising both money and awareness about Dowie's House and other HWC services. She joins us today to talk about some exciting upcoming events and to share suggestions for those interested in getting involved. Welcome, Karen. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. We're very excited about everything that's coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, before we talk about upcoming events, maybe you could just give our listeners and our viewers a little update on the groundbreaking ceremony and what's going on with Dowie's House.
Well, we had the groundbreaking ceremony in July. It was a very hot day, but it was very, very heartwarming because a lot of people put their heart and soul into building a hospice house for Washington County, because now if you're in need of a hospice house, you have to leave our county. And of course, leading this, the leadership campaign was Neil Glessner, with his vision of a hospice house because of what he went through while his mother was passing away. And it's named after his mother, which it was Doris Glessner, and her nickname was Dowie. And
am I correct, the groundbreaking was actually held on Dowie's birthday?
Yes, July 7th was the groundbreaking, and that was Dowie's birthday.
A tribute
in
to
honor
her.
Of that.
Right.
Yeah,
that's great.
And we had a number of people, a number of speakers involved. We had over 200 people, and it was a very hot day, but people wanted to come because they're so passionate about this program. We had it on the site, and we've also named the street that's being built there, and that is going to be called Caring Pathway Lane.
And this is over near Meritus Hospital, right?
That is, and we want to thank Meritus because they actually donated the land, provided the land for us to have Dowie's House, and it's very important of the proximity to the hospital as well. And we had a number of donors, we had a number of speakers. This project has over 2,000 donors. We've raised $3.3 million for the capital campaign. Our campaign is $5 million for Dowie's House, so we have $1.7 million to go.
More than halfway there.
There we are, and we'd like to do that by ribbon cutting, which
great.
The house will open in 2017. But Bernadette, we're also raising funds for an endowment. And you ask, why isn't an endowment needed for Dowie's House? But it's really twofold. One is hospice houses in general do not make money. They actually lose money in the first few years. And also, hospice gives over $300,000 in charity care a year to those that don't have insurance or are underinsured. And at Dowie's House, we will have those people that may need services and funds, and we want to ensure that everyone that's at Dowie's House is able to stay there.
So if somebody were to support the endowment fund, they would actually be helping community members be able to access the care at Dowie's House even if they couldn't afford it.
In the future, yeah,
That's
everything is for that, and then also operationally in the beginning.
Well, Karen, I know this is a busy time for the development team. Can you tell us about some of the plans and upcoming events?
Sure. Well, first of all, Neil Glessner and his wife Mary actually chair our leadership campaign for Dowie's House, and we in the leadership campaign is about, I'd say, 25 people, and they go year round in fundraising for Dowie's House. But then we get to have some special events. Coming up on August 27th is our cruising car show, and that is actually done at the C&O Canal Days at Mr. Bowman's estate, and it also shows he has 70 new and used cars for that. And then also we have the Dowie's Dazzle also there, and that is in memory of Joan L. Bowman. And we have a special event. It's from 5 to 8. We have music, we have food, we have fun, and both of those are for Dowie's House. And then in November, we're planning, and we're putting some, dotting our I's and crossing our T's. We'll have an event November 10th, a hospice event, and then coming up our Pathways to the Heart in December.
Wow, that's a busy calendar. And I also know on top of all those different development activities, you are very involved with the My Wish program. Could you talk to us a little bit about that, how that works?
Well, first of all, our team goes in, and our team is a number of people, the nurses, the chaplains, our social workers, our CNAs,
volunteers.
They work with our patients, and sometimes they find that our patients at the end of life, they have a special request, a special wish, and they bring that to us and they tell us what it is, and we try to make it happen.
That's great.
It could be a birthday party, it could be a anniversary event, it could be that they want to make a trip, it could be a number of things. We do have some guidelines because sometimes our patients can't travel or do things, so we try to do a little thing to make sure that whatever they're wishing comes true.
And I know in the past you've published a little book for somebody. One of our patients who was a veteran wanted to visit the Veterans Memorial in DC. So you guys do a great job with that.
Yeah, even one person wanted their jewelry made for their children. So there are so many things, but it does make it makes their wish come true. And I've been on wishes. It is very, very heartwarming, and it is something that it's just something that when you experience, it's great to make somebody's wish come true.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for all your efforts on behalf of Dowie's House and Hospice and the My Wish program.
Well, it's a team of volunteers, staff, and employees, and everybody working together, and it is a great team.
Well, thank you so much. I'd like to thank Karen for joining us for today's show and for her unending efforts to support Hospice of Washington County. Karen's sense of commitment to hospice and her desire to better serve the residents of Washington County is inspirational. If you, like me, feel inspired, I hope you will take stock of your skills, talents, and resources and figure out how you can make a difference in your community. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
I've been working with Linda McCollum now for 20 years. The people in the office are very knowledgeable of what they do, and they're also very caring and customer-oriented. Our little granddaughter, when she says, "Pappy, I love you," that's just so precious. If I wouldn't have had the hearing aid on, I wouldn't have heard it.
Let McCollum Hearing Center help you rediscover the sounds of your life.
Hi, I am Dr. Olenzak at the Pain and Spine Institute. I specialize in the most advanced procedures and technology available in pain management. At your visits and procedures, you will always see me for continuity of care. I would like to thank all of my patients for allowing me to provide you with the specialized care that you need. To give you this level of care requires a team. This is your team at the Pain and Spine Institute. To become a patient, call 301-739-7900 or go to painfree-md.com.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Health. Our next guest, Carol Blessing, is a small business owner in Boonesboro, Maryland. Carol graduated from the Von Lee International School of Aesthetics in 2001 and opened Green Bamboo Quality Skincare in 2007. In 2011, Carol was appointed to the Boonesboro Economic Development Commission, an organization committed to improving the economy and strengthening the community by supporting local businesses. She joins us today to share details about an innovative program the EDC will be hosting at the Boonesboro Community Life Center. Welcome, Carol. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. So before we talk about the little program that you're going to be leading at the Boonesboro Community Life Center, can you tell us a little bit about your business, where it's located, what kind of services you provide?
Sure. I am a licensed esthetician and owner of Green Bamboo Quality Skincare, and I'm located at 27 South Main Street in Boonesboro.
It's sort of right up from Town Hall?
It is,
okay.
Yes. And it's in the beautiful red brick building with a clock on top of it.
Okay.
And the Boonesboro Wellness Center is there also. I offer facials, waxing, body treatments, makeup services. I use an organic skin line from Utah, and they use small businesses as producers
and
of the ingredients.
Yes.
Yes.
That's neat. That's neat.
And I also use products from Cedar Ridge Soaps, located in Keedysville, Maryland, and it's a wonderful skincare line as well.
That's great. At Hospice of Washington County, we have these community life centers, and we offer the space at no cost to lots of different groups and who are willing to do programs that benefit the community. Can you tell us a little bit about what the EDC is going to be using and when the EDC will be using the center?
Sure. We are having 3 dates this year, September 17th, October 29th, and December 3rd, as pop-up shops in your beautiful community life center room. The vendors will pay a nominal fee, which we will donate to Hospice, and they are all local vendors, craftspeople.
And are they all handmade crafters?
Yes, everything is handmade. We have a lovely person, it's called Made by Me. She does the crocheted necklaces. There's another person who does paintings and note cards. We have somebody who makes doll clothes that fit the American Girl dolls.
Oh, nice.
We have Love Bug Creations. They do handmade wooden signs using refurbished cabinet doors. And Beachleys Farm Market will be there with their organic vegetables and homemade baked goods.
And Carol, these dates they coincide with something else that's going on at Boonesboro.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers about that?
Yes, we decided to get in with the book signings at Turn the Page Books. Nora Roberts is there on probably about 6 different Saturdays throughout the year, and we thought since there are many people in town then, we would take advantage of that and offer all of these people other things to see and do and experience in Boonesboro.
That's terrific. So we just have a little bit of time, but can you tell us how this program will benefit the community?
Yes, the EDC, that is, we're very conscious and we want to promote local businesses. We want to promote the downtown. Since it has been voted one of the top 10 safest cities in Maryland, we want people to come downtown and shop locally, be aware of all the wonderful businesses that reside in Boonesboro, and just keep the money local.
That's great. And support those local people and the economy there in Boonesboro.
Yes.
That's terrific. And just real quickly, how many crafters are going to be at the event?
We can accommodate up to 10, and we have 6 commitments so far for the next 3.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Well, Carol, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Well, you are certainly welcome. Thank you.
Sure. I'd like to thank Carol for joining us for today and all she does to support her community. If you would be interested in attending the craft fair and supporting the EDC's initiative, please stop by the Boonesboro Community Life Center on the following Saturdays, September 17th, October 29th, and December 3rd, between 10 and 4 p.m. Stay right with us. We'll be back after this short commercial break.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend to everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up, it's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
I've been working with Linda McCollum now for 20 years. The people in the office are very knowledgeable of what they do, and they're also very caring and customer-oriented. My little granddaughter, when she says, "Pappy, I love you," that's just so precious. If I wouldn't have had the hearing aid on, I wouldn't have heard it.
Let McCollum Hearing Center help you rediscover the sounds of your life.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 Villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles, and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Health. It's my pleasure to welcome B.J. Getz to today's program. Mr. Getz, who has 19 years of banking experience, is currently the president and CEO of Middletown Valley Bank and is active in the Chamber of Commerce and the Maryland Bank Services Board of Directors. In 2017, he will begin serving on the board of Maryland Bankers Association. Mr. Getz is proud that as a community bank, Middletown Valley Bank seeks to support the communities where he does business. In fact, his 70 employees, whom he describes as amazing and talented, contribute nearly 1,000 volunteer hours each year. He joins us today to talk about Middletown Valley Bank's involvement in the community, its support of Hospice of Washington County, and one of its recent efforts to make a difference. Welcome, thanks for being here.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure to be here.
Sure. So you live in Hagerstown with your wife and 4 daughters, so you're truly invested in the community. Does that inform your strategies as a community banker?
Absolutely. I think, the true definition of a community bank is to promote the vibrancy and the economic development of a community, as well as make it a better place to live. And I've been here all my life, so that's important.
That's great. Before I specifically ask you about Middletown Valley's bank support for hospice, I was wondering if you could just tell us about some of the services that your bank provides to your customers. And one thing I was going to ask is if you have a mobile app, because that's something everybody's talking about these days.
Well, absolutely. I think you couldn't be in banking today if you didn't have a mobile app. So, we do have a mobile app that supports, really a community bank. When you think about the larger banks that serve communities, everyone has a role. Products and services are always very similar among banks, and they're driven by your competition. Community banks differentiate themselves by the service level that they bring to the table and by the way they interact with the customer that walks in every day. Mm-hmm. It's nothing for a customer to walk through the door and we know exactly who they are, when they were there the day before, the week before, and what they need to do that day.
Probably know when their kids graduate because they're applying for college applications or something. That's
Exactly.
great. That's great. Hospice of Washington County recently broke ground on its first hospice house, Dowie's House. Your bank played a significant role. Would you care to share with our viewers your generous donation?
Well, so we try to target in the community services that we believe really make a difference. And we came together as a company to decide to contribute $30,000 towards the Dowie's House, which will be a hospice house here in Washington County.
And you specifically donated that to seed the veterans room. And I was wondering, does Middletown Valley Bank have a particular outreach to veterans, or was that just something your bank decided that's where they wanted the money to go?
Well, so really, when we make our decisions on what we contribute to and what we put our name with, we try to focus on what makes a difference to our community, to our customers, and to our staff. And when we sit down and talk about that from a committee standpoint, it's very important for us that we support what our constituents want us to support. And from our staff and from our customer base, we have a tremendous number of veterans. And when you look at Washington County as a whole, the men that have served and the women that have served in the community, we can do nothing but respect and show admiration for them.
And this was a way to both support the community and honor veterans at the same time.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, just on a personal note, I thought it was such a wonderful thing because it also, by seating that room, it is that room at Dowie's House, it's also an invitation to the community to get behind this project and to honor veterans as well. So I'm very personally appreciative. My dad was a veteran and I have several relatives in the service, so I really appreciate that.
Well, we thank them.
Yeah, that's right. Middletown Valley Bank has also done some other community outreach programs, sure. And I was wondering if you could talk about some of the other nonprofits and programs that you all have invested in.
Yeah, so we've been in Washington County in particular since 2007. We really try to focus on what will make a difference, what our employees and our customers want us to be involved in. We do a variety of different things. We don't spend a tremendous amount of advertising dollars. We would rather give it back to the community. So, we've done a lot of support for the Community Free Clinic and the Maryland Theater, the Fine Arts Museum. We're doing some things right now for Discovery Station and breast cancer awareness, and a big one for us is hospice. We want to make sure that we're involved.
And recently I was reading online that you did an event with the Humane Society. I was wondering if you could mention that briefly.
Absolutely. So yeah, I did the frigid polar plunge for the puppies, I guess I would say. It was a great time, a great experience for a great organization. Our involvement with the Humane Society and with the other organizations, we try to put our people as much of a volunteer to do the work as we do our dollars.
Right.
Both are just as important.
Yeah, I did think that was a pretty nice statistic to say that your employees do 1,000 hours of volunteer service every year.
Absolutely, it's one of the requirements that my staff puts on themselves. They really take it seriously.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
I'd like to thank Mr. Getz for being a part of today's show. He's obviously a businessman who invests in others and works to strengthen the community. His words remind me of Cesar Chavez, the great American civil rights leader and labor activist, who said, "We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about the progress and prosperity of our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others, for their sake and for our own." Hospice of Washington County is grateful to Mr. Getz and to Middletown Valley Bank for their generous support of the Veterans Room at Dowie's House. If you too want to support Dowie's House, which will provide compassionate end-of-life treatment for all, even those who can't afford it, I encourage you to call Karen Giffen at Hospice of Washington County at 301-791-6360. We'll be right back after this message.
Barbers Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. God versus man.
I've known a few women like you.
Oh, I don't think you've ever known a woman like me.
You know the oldest lie in America is that power can be innocent.
Rent Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice now.
Digital customers, tune to Channel 1 to get started.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Health. U.S. Senator and Chair of the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, Tom Harkins said, quote, "America's healthcare system is in a crisis precisely because we systematically neglect wellness and prevention," end of quote. Our next guest, who works for the Washington County Health Department, has been doing her best to address that crisis by offering programs designed to educate the public and prevent disease. Heather Myers is the Western Maryland Coordinator for the Healthiest Maryland Business Program and is also a trained lifestyle coach for the National Diabetes Prevention Program. She joins us today to talk about a year-long diabetes prevention program that will be offered at Hospice of Washington County's Hancock Community Life Center beginning this September. So I'm so glad you're here today. Maybe, Heather, you could start off by telling us a little bit about what the National Diabetes Prevention Program is.
Absolutely, yeah. The National Diabetes Prevention Program was a program developed by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. It's an evidence-based program that aims to help people prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes.
And who is this program targeted for?
This is targeting anyone who has prediabetes. Basically, prediabetes means your blood sugar is elevated, but it's not yet high enough to be considered type 2. One way to tell if you have prediabetes is if you get less than 150 minutes of physical activity a week, or if you may be considered overweight or obese.
So they're like risk factors for being pre-diabetic?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then you can also get an actual blood glucose reading from your doctor, of course, and there are certain figures that indicate whether you have pre-diabetes or not.
Okay, and you're going to be offering this program at the Hancock Community Life Center, which we're really excited about.
Yes.
Will there be a cost?
No cost at all. We totally support this program for free, the health department, and we work with our partners to try and get this for free to anyone who wants to join.
And I know Hospice is excited to be able to share our resource with the health department because we want to be there to support the community, not just at the end of life, but throughout life.
Absolutely.
So this is a great partnership for us. So how long will the program last?
The program is a year long, which can sometimes be intimidating to people. Groups meet once a week for 16 weeks and then monthly until 12 months is reached. We meet for a year because it's a lifestyle change program and it's not something you can do in a day or even a month really. It takes a full year to really develop some good habits.
And what are some of the goals of the participants? Do they set individual goals or does the program have goals?
Yes, so for the program we do have two main goals that we really try to help everyone reach. First and foremost, we want people to lose about 7% of their weight, just because studies indicate that is truly an amount that helps reduce your risk for diabetes. And then we also want to help people get up to at least 150 minutes of activity every week. So those are the two main goals. And then we also just try to help people, reach any of their own personal health goals, such as learning to manage stress.
And maybe to cook healthier meals?
Absolutely.
Do you have a nutrition component?
Yes, there's a nutrition and physical activity along with emotional, mental support in the program, and the lifestyle coaches that do provide the program. If a participant is really in need of healthy recipes, we try to get that information to them.
That sounds great. You should do a little cookbook. Why should people focus on the prevention aspect of it as opposed to just treating it once they get it?
Absolutely. There are millions of Americans who have prediabetes, and diabetes is increasing not only in the country but the state of Maryland at epidemic proportions. So we really just want to empower people to prevent type 2 diabetes. It saves you the financial, emotional, and physical tolls that type 2 diabetes has.
I'm sure that would also help cut healthcare costs.
Absolutely, yes. As that's another whole other political issue, right?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it absolutely reduced costs.
And is this something that physicians could implement in their practice?
Yes, and that is something we are absolutely trying to get out there, is that we want to help primary care physician offices, any sort of medical office really, implement this program in their own practice. And we can train their personnel to become lifestyle coaches, and we can essentially get them any supplies that they need at no cost, really. So absolutely.
Well, Heather, this sounds like a great program, and I'm so excited that you could be here today and that the health department is going to be partnering with Hospice of Washington County.
Yes, we're excited too.
Great. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for Heather for joining us on Healing, Hope, and Health. Hospice of Washington County is proud to provide space in its 3 community life centers at no cost to groups, agencies, and individuals willing to offer programs that benefit the community. If you or someone you know are interested in participating in this program, please call Washington County's Health Department at 240-313-3349.